Alright guys, I'm here with your budgeting tutorial. Today we're going to be going through how to create your monthly budget. And so if you got this from the budgeting starter kit, you have a PDF budget that looks just like this that you can use and follow along with me as I'm filling this mock budget up. Now if you just stumbled on this video online and you want a copy of this budget, be sure to click the link, grab it for yourself, and then go back through this with me so that you can plug in your own numbers. And this is something you're going to repeat every month, something you can do every month. You'll just use the same form, just every month is different. So before the month starts, you're going to sit down, you're going to plan all expenses and all the money coming in and how it's going to be used. All right, so I'm going to jump in, and up here, your monthly take-home pay. I want you to think about how much money do you bring home. Now, this is what your paycheck is. We're talking about after taxes, after everything's been taken out. What is your paycheck? And we want to get your monthly total. So if you're paid every other week, well, this coming month, how many paychecks are you going to get and what's your total going to be? So if you get paid $2,500 a paycheck and you're going to be paid twice this month, well, that's $5,000 for the coming month. Every month's different, so if you are paid, again, every other Friday, well, once in a while, you're going to have a month where you have 3 paychecks. You're going to put that up here. So if it was $2,500 a month and you got 3 of them, well, then the coming month, you would budget for $7,500. Well, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to say that this person's monthly take-home pay is $5,000. Again, you put in what your number is. Now we're going to roll through this budget, and this budget's going to have tons of ideas and things to think about as you're planning. There's going to be some things that are not on here that you might have to add in yourself, and then there might be some things on here that you don't need or that you don't need to budget for. All right, so I'm going to run our total over here. And so I'm going to put 5,000 in. I'm just going to have a calculator running. I'm going to keep subtracting totals away as we go. So first thing we're going to look at is charity. Think about if you go to church, do you do a tithe? Do you have an organization that you like to give to regularly? You decide what you want to do. Now you'll notice under each category there's a recommended percentages. Also, if you got the budgeting starter kit, you got that document that's going to tell you percentages that I recommend. That's going to be percentages of your monthly take-home pay. How much of it should be going to each of these categories? And what range do you want to stay within? So between 10 and 15% is going to be the max that you want to give. Now, I'm just going to say for this person's budget, let's just say they give $200 a month to a charity of their choice, okay? So I'm going to deduct $200 from our total, and we're going to keep rolling down. Savings. Now, I'm going to come back to savings last, just because for this example, let's just say you're getting out of debt right now, and so you have your starter emergency fund, just a small amount of savings somewhere, and you're working on paying off debt. Well, maybe right now you're not putting any extra money towards savings. So if you're at that point where you've paid off debt and you're trying to build up your emergency fund of 10 to 15% of your annual income, just a stockpile of money, well, then this is kind of somewhere you'd want to come back to at the end. Okay, so I'm going to skip it for now. Now, we might come back to it. It just completely depends on where you are. All right, so let's say mortgage. Let's say for this person, their monthly mortgage is $1,500. So we subtract $1,500. If you have a second mortgage, you're going to want to enter that. Any taxes, if you don't have escrow, if you're not doing escrow with your mortgage, meaning that you pay a monthly payment and they take care of your taxes and insurance and all that's part of it, then you need to accommodate for those things in here. All right. Repairs and maintenance. This is some money you want to set aside into a sinking fund where you save money for when repairs or maintenance needs to happen. Things are going to happen to your home. Expenses are going to come up. AC is going to break. Something's going to happen that's going to cost money. So we want to save a little bit every month to prepare for that. So maybe $50 a month is a good idea. You decide how much you want to save. And then HOA association dues. If you have an HOA, sometimes those are quarterly. Sometimes those are monthly. Figure out what yours are. Now, if they're quarterly, you can either every quarter put it into your budget, the full amount. So if it's $100 every quarter, you could every quarter add $100 into there. Or you could budget it out every month. So you could divide that, if it's quarterly, divide 100 by 3. So you would budget about $33 per month. Set it aside so that when the association dues are coming in, you have the money there. So that's what I'm going to do for this budget. Subtract $33, and we're rolling down. All right, electricity. I know this is a variable expense. It's going to change every month. So for me, I know our electric bill, we get it before the first of the month. I think our bill is due on the 5th, and so I usually have it before the month starts. If you have it, look at it, and you're going to put that specific number in. If you don't, well, then you're going to use a ballpark figure. Predict. We have a pretty good idea of what our electric usage looks like month to month. You can think back to last year if you need to. So let's just say this month's electric bill is $100. So we'll subtract 100. Gas, same thing. If you get the bill ahead of time, plan for that. So we'll subtract 50. Water, your water utility usage. So we'll say $80. If you have a sprinkler system, sometimes that's more. If you have kids, sometimes that's a lot more, teenagers especially. All right, trash, a lot of times that's associated with the water, with your city. If not, make sure you put that in there. Your cell phone, now prices are going to change for everybody. An average common one I see is $150. So I'm going to put 150 here. Again, if you have a family plan, you might have multiple phones. Account for that. What is your monthly payment? And usually these are going to be pretty much the same every month unless you're having overages, which we're going to try to avoid. All right, so internet. If you have internet, $50 a month, whatever your internet usage is. And then if you have cable, an average cable bill, let's just say $125 a month. All right. So moving down, that's our utilities. Now again, if you think of anything else that you need to add in here that's not a line item already, make sure you go back and do that. All right, food. Now I know groceries can be hard to predict. So if this is your first budget, we're going to really try and think about how much do we spend, how much do we think we're going to need to spend on groceries. A lot of times it can be easier to break this down by week. How much do you think you would spend in a week at a grocery store and then multiply that by 4? This obviously is a different number for everybody. It can really depend on how healthy you eat, how big your family is, what kinds of foods you like to eat. All of those things come into account. So you have to decide what's best for you and what number makes sense for you. I'm going to put 500 right here. Again, your number may be different than that. Restaurants, same thing. Break it up by a week. When you're coming up with this number, think about how often do we go out to eat in a given week and how much does that cost? Okay, if you go out once a week and it's just a couple, you and your spouse, or if you have one kid, maybe it's $50 a week is all you're spending on restaurants. It's, again, everybody's different. So I'm going to say that $50 a week, so multiply it by 4, and that's going to be $200 a month budgeted for restaurants. What's great about these, especially your groceries, is try it out for a month or two. And if you find out that 500 is just way more than you spend, you can drop it down next month. You can come in here and say, okay, we don't spend 500, so for this next month, we're going to do 4. Or if you get halfway through the month and you realize you're out of money, then you know that you need to budget more for the next month because 500 is not a realistic number. All right, clothing. Budgeting clothing for people in your family. That's adults and children. So make sure you budget for everybody. I'm just going to put 50 for each of these. Cleaning and laundry, if you do any dry cleaning, if you have maid service or house cleaning service, I guess this is under clothing, so it's probably more of a dry cleaning or something like that. Transportation, again, gas and oil, very variable. Not only does it matter how often you drive and how far you drive, but it can also depend on gas prices. So this is one where I usually recommend over budgeting because we want to make sure we don't overspend what we budgeted. So think of what your typical usage is and maybe just add a little bit to it. I'm going to put $300 on this one just for this budget's sake, but everybody's different on this one as well. Repairs and tires, so same thing I said with the house. We want to be saving up for those things that might pop up in the month. Things pop up. We know that our car is going to need to be repaired or fixed. Tires are going to blow. All those things. So we want to have a sinking fund. That's setting $50 a month aside into an envelope in your closet or somewhere safe so that it's there that when a tire needs to be replaced, you have some cash on hand and you don't have to borrow money. You don't have to freak out about where the money's going to come from. It's there. If you have any registration or anything like that that's due, that's going to be put in here. All right. Medical and health. Thinking about prescriptions, medications. If you have any of those, put those in there. I'm going to put 50 in here for this person. Doctor bills, if that's something that you have regular ones coming, or if you know this coming month you have a doctor visit that you're going to have to pay out of pocket for. Budget for that. Same with the dentist and all these other things. If you know those are expenses, put them in your budget. Now, as we scroll down to insurance, Sometimes insurance is through your employer. Now, for things like health insurance, that's a good chance that's through your employer if you have a W-2 income, if you work for somebody. Same thing with disability. A lot of times that's through your employer. Now, one that a lot of people get through their employer's life insurance, and I encourage you to get some quotes outside of your employer, and I'll tell you why. If you were to lose your job suddenly, well, you lose your life insurance policy if that were to happen, and you're unprotected and your family's unprotected. A lot of times, life insurance can be fairly comparable in price outside of your employer, so I just recommend getting some quotes. I know that I personally pay about $35 a month for my life insurance. It's not much. So right there, health insurance, we'll just say is taken from your employer. Auto insurance, it varies for everybody. I'm just going to put 120. That one's pretty predictable. Obviously, every 6 months to a year, the premiums might change. But and then we'll say these other ones are taken out of your employer as well. Last but not least, we have personal. If you have children, you have to budget for that child care, the sitter. If you do any cosmetics or hair care. So there's a lot of ideas. This is kind of a catch-all for the other things. So I'm going to touch on just a few of them that are pretty common. One of them is gifts. Think about every month's different. So think of this coming month. Who has a birthday coming up? Who do you need to buy for? What birthdays are coming up? So let's say you have a few birthdays. You're going to budget $75 for those gifts. Every month's different. This is going to look different for each month. So make sure you're paying attention to that. Subscriptions up here. If you have Netflix or XM Radio or Hulu, all those types of things can fall under subscriptions. So let's just say $40 a month for this person. All right. And then last couple ones I want you to look at are pocket money. Now these are great if you're married and you and your spouse like to buy things and you don't want to necessarily have to always worry about checking in with them to see, is it okay in the budget? Is this okay? So for example, if I see a piece of musical equipment, I'm a musician. If I see something that I want, well, I have some pocket money that I can make that purchase. So if a box shows up on our doorstep from Amazon, my wife doesn't have to worry about whether I blew our budget. She knows it comes out of my pocket money. Same with her. If she wants to do something, if she wants to go grab lunch one day or whatever, wants to get a manicure, well, that's coming out of her pocket money. So I don't have to worry about where that money's coming from. So that's a good idea to budget some of that. The number is going to be different for everybody. I'm going to put $100 for each of these people. This is going to really depend on your income, your spending habits, how much other things you're already budgeting for up here. Maybe a lot of your pocket money stuff is already put in the budget elsewhere. So think about your specific lifestyle and what you would need. Pet supplies, if you have a pet, make sure you're budgeting for that. And then the last one I want to really hit on is miscellaneous. Miscellaneous is a catch-all category. What I recommend people do with miscellaneous is budget a little bit of money every month for the things that you couldn't predict. So the things that were unforeseeable. Let's say if you have a kid who comes home and tells you, hey, I have a bake sale tomorrow and I need to bring all this stuff by tomorrow morning to school. Well, you didn't know that was going to happen. You don't want it to throw a wrench in your budget. So that might be something that comes out of the miscellaneous category. Something like that. So setting aside money. Now, miscellaneous is not designed for, oh, we're out of restaurant money. Well, we got some miscellaneous. Let's just spend out of there. That's not what it's there for. Okay, so be careful of that. All right, so $100 a month, use it, and whatever you don't use can be put towards your financial goal. Last but not least, we have recreation and vacation. So recreation has entertainment and vacation. So this is your entertainment like movies, different things like that, things you would go out and do for fun. So budgeting some money per month for that. I'll just say $100. All right, and then if you are wanting to do vacations, if you have one that you're saving for, this is where it would be. Sinking fund. Save a little bit every month so you can go on that vacation. All right, debts are at the bottom. We want to take care of our household first before we start taking care of debts. So let's put in some debt numbers. Let's say a car payment of $300. Let's say a credit card where the minimum payment is $50. Okay, and then let's say there's another credit card where the minimum payment's $40. All right, and then a student loan where it's a $200 payment. All right, so your take-home pay was $5,000. Our category totals we had $202 left. So that's our category totals are going to be $4,798. If I added all of these together, that's what the total is going to be. And we end up with $202. Now, this says zero balance for a reason. Our goal is to have no money left on the table. So that doesn't mean we're going to let our bank accounts get to zero. That just means we're going to plan for each dollar that we're bringing in. So this $202 is going to go towards our financial goal that we're working on. If you're trying to eliminate debt, which is what this person would be doing because they have these debts, they're going to pick their smallest debt balance, which let's just pretend it's credit card 1. So instead of making a $50 payment, we're going to add that $202 to it. So they're making a $252 payment on that this month. And now our categories zero out. We have now spent all $5,000 on our budget. All right, guys, this is something you can print every month and do yourself. There are resources out there. I do recommend everydollar.com is a free resource if you like doing your budgets online. You can do it on the website and log it in. It's going to calculate it for you. If you're a paper and pencil person, feel free to print these out and you can write them on paper and do it that way. You can use this fillable PDF version just like I did where you type them in yourself as you're going down. Whatever you do, the key is to plan for every month differently. Every month is different. Our expenses are different, so treat each month in a unique way, planning for each dollar and each item. And what's great about it is it's not restricting in the sense that it's telling you you can't spend money. It's actually pretty liberating in the fact that you have permission to spend right here. You have permission to spend $50 on clothes on yourself or your pocket money, $100. You have permission to spend that money because we know that our other goals are taken care of within this budget. We're paying our debt payments. We're paying our bills. Everything is getting covered. We're making headway in our goals. So this is stuff we can enjoy guilt-free. If you have any questions about creating your budget, what to do, if anything pops up, you're not sure how to handle it, if you have like a very irregular income, maybe you're self-employed and you're not sure how to tackle that, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer those. And guys, budgeting is so incredibly important, and there's way more to it and way more things that I could go into that I couldn't in this video. So I recommend you check out my online course, and I have a free trial of it, which is actually the module is budgeting, and it's going to go way more in depth on this than I did today. So the free trial, if you want nothing else, go check that out. Check out that video on budgeting. It's going to go into what to do if you make irregular money, if you have fluctuating payments or fluctuating income. What can you do in those situations? And it's going to talk about a lot of ideas of things that pop up that you may not think about. So go check it out. Try the free trial and just get that information for free. All right, guys, if you have any questions, I'm here for you. info@craigdacey.com. Otherwise, have a great day. Happy budgeting, and I hope it goes well.